Do, do, la, ti, do, re, do, do, mi, so, re, fa. Let me just make sure. La, ti. Oh, nice. Okay, so, hello, guys. It's 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. It is Friday, the 7th of November, AD 2025. And, we're going to have a fun, loosey-goosey, The Hake Report show. All right? Lord. Oh, Lord. Lord. Complicated business, everybody. And I'm going to have Crishaun the Don of the Misfit Nation over here with me. Let's see. It's not bass guitar. This one. Nice. Crishaun, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hopefully the audience can hear you as well. Crishaun the Don of the Misfit Nation is live with us here on the Hake Report. See right here, it's the Hake Report. And we're going to have a fun, loosey-goosey Friday show. Look, ruins. This is America in about 3 years. Anyway, so get excited, and you can call in 1-888-775-3773. And the views expressed by Crishaun and Hake do not represent Crishaun or Hake. I don't know if Crishaun agrees with me, but I don't even represent myself. Some of the info may be false, right? Oftentimes it turns out to be. But also, you don't know what we mean, you know? What? You heard that people freaking out that Nick J. Fuentes likes Stalin, and they're like, oh, but he must like communism. It's ridiculous. It doesn't mean he likes communism. So you don't know what anybody means. Doubt your thoughts. Okay? So that's my little disclaimer, all right? But it's been a while. Do you know when the last time was that we talked there, Crishaun the Don?
Man, it's probably been like a month or two. Maybe probably like 3 months. I don't think we've talked since the whole Charlie Kirk thing happened, right?
That's what I was telling JLP. I don't think we've talked since Charlie Kirk got assassinated.
Yeah, I think it was like a little bit before that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. That was September 10th. So we must have talked in like August or July, White History Month or Men's History Month or something like that.
I think it was Men's History Month.
Okay. Yeah.
I remember that.
Is there a mouse over his face, over his MAGA hat? Is that our cursor on you? Thanks. Thank you, baby. Thank you, baby. Help me get the guests together. So nice, exciting. I think all is well. So let me know. Put three Hake. If Hake is low, put 3 Crishaun. If Crishaun is low, or Don, D-O-N, is faster to write. If 3 means quiet, 2 means too loud. If Hake is way too loud, put 2 Hake. Or if Crishaun is way too loud, put 2 Crishaun. Because one time I messed up and I wasn't paying any attention, and I had some guest on, and I had the other guy blasting, and I was all quiet. It was
a mess.
And I wasn't paying attention to the chat because when I have a guest, I'm a little bit more distracted per capita. Not that that's the right word. So, nice. All right. So, and I'll try to look at the chat. All right. But it is a Friday. We'll get to your calls. You can call in 888-775-3773. We'll get to your super chats, hopefully. I did see some came in already, and I will invite Crishaun to chime in on some of them. There was one that I missed 2 days in a row. So it's going to be a fun, hopefully, show, guys. All right? After this, we have The Fallen State with a Catholic priest. It's a premiere. It's pre-taped, but it's a nice premiere. Okay. The Fallen State is almost always nicely edited for your enjoyment and efficiency. And very flashy. It's cool. And then, of course, American Anchor Baby will be live right after the fallen state today. It's the loosey-goosey Friday Hake report, though, right now. So anyway, guys, let's just get right on with the, show. Oh, man, what in the world? Oh, I have it muted. I remember that.
Post.
I muted it yesterday, and I never fixed it. Show!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys! I hope you're enjoying the AJ Gallardo original theme song! It's so good! Hope that didn't blast your ears.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how you guys doing? I'm fine. I'm wearing a nice pocket tee. Hopefully Artie Art doesn't call in and rip my pocket out and then rip Crishaun for... I don't want to bring that up. But nice. All is well. We're all friends
It's old
here.
stuff.
/ fiends. Yeah, we don't bring up that mess. So anyway, is that too much Hake? It's ridiculous. How you been, Crishaun?
Center. I'm pretty good. Just been, working real life stuff, catching criminals.
Nice. And
Yeah.
that is, so you're literally catching criminals over there when you're doing the security
Yeah.
work.
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of people sitting in jail right now because of me, and I'm very proud of that.
That's interesting.
That's to me way more important than not to belittle any of this, because we all do this and I respect this, but that's why it's taking more of my time than doing streaming, because I feel like I'm doing more important work doing that.
Definitely, man. Yeah, I was really into music at one time. It was all Christian music, and once I started, and I would like make mix CDs every month and send them to my friends. Once I started a real job, I cut all that out. It's not even on purpose. It just happened that way. Sometimes that's how it goes.
And I think about back when I used to be a musician, and I was like, that was like so much more stressful, like coming up with like music and always having to be creative.
Yeah.
Like it's like a relief to not have to worry about that anymore.
For sure. That's cool. Well, congratulations on a fulfilling job. And have you put your life at risk?
Yeah,
knowingly?
I mean people have died doing, what I do.
Right.
But I'm not trying to make it, more like exaggerated or anything, but there are definitely risks. There's been people that, they get maced, they get, physical altercations, that whole thing.
Well, it's
like getting into a confrontation is like it's a daily basis thing for me. So
okay.
yeah.
So it's kind of rare that you don't. It's you go to work and you don't have any confrontation whatsoever.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. It's pretty
Wow.
rare. Get called a racist all day. It's fun. It's like being on the internet.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you live in a state that is a reasonable state in terms of on the side of the law-abiding and not on the side of the criminals, because other states are not that way. California,
Definitely.
For example. Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing this in a liberal city. I probably wouldn't even do it, to be honest, because it's all liabilities, and that's all they're worried about. In other cities, it's like way worse. As far as we already know, you guys are smart enough to understand that.
In Florida,
in cities that they're protecting criminals more than victims.
Right. I mean, you shoot somebody in self-defense, and you can get sued, or in home defense, and you can get sued, or even charged, or thrown in jail or prison, or you're transporting your guns and jumping through the hoops in the proper way in New Jersey or California, you can end up a felon. It's crazy.
Yeah, because they have the duty to retreat.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
even
right.
if you're in your own home, you have to retreat.
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity.
Yeah. That's crazy.
In Florida, you can pretty much protect your own property. It goes that far.
Nice.
It's I had a neighbor who shot somebody who was breaking into his car.
Wow.
He didn't even go to jail.
Man, that is so common sense.
You think so?
Yeah. Beautiful Florida.
I love it.
Are there any drugs hitting Florida that you've seen? Because there's these drug-running boats that are getting struck off of Venezuela and in the Caribbean. And I feel like Florida is not all that far from the Caribbean.
Well, Florida's
it's kind of far.
Miami's basically been built on drug money. You know what I mean? Like it's in our history here.
Yeah, Miami Vice. That was drug related, right? Or something? Maybe not.
Yeah, it's like the cocaine cowboys and all that. I think that's what it was called. Yeah, they basically built Miami on cocaine money. So like drugs are prevalent here, but I don't like when I see the videos of over in Portland and even where you're at in LA, it's like that's insane to me. We don't see that here. You may see one or two, and that gets dealt with pretty quick.
Yeah.
Police come and, there's something that happens. I don't know what happens, but
so you guys are the dealers, not you personally, but the criminals in your state are the dealers, and the criminals in our states are the addicts and the passers. Well, you guys are the source, a thoroughfare.
I don't know, because there's a lot of people who say they get stuff from your side.
Yeah, true.
So I think it's just going back and forth. It's just wherever it sells, it goes. Yeah.
What do you think of Trump striking these drug boats? And the news that came out today, or at least that I saw today, is that they're not actually narco terrorists. They're just working men who are also running drugs.
Oh, that's liberal lies, liberal media lies. Like, we know that. I'm all in favor of Trump blowing up the cartel. I mean, he designated them a terrorist group, right?
Right.
So he made it legal to do it.
Yeah.
I think they definitely qualify as a terrorist group. They do stuff that, like, Muslim jihadists do. They chop off people's heads. It's pretty crazy, the stuff that they do. So
yeah, I think ISIS got inspiration from drug cartels in terms of the brutality and on-camera executions and horrible things that they've done to people.
I think it was actually vice versa. I think the cartel got it from the Muslims.
Oh, okay.
Either way, I don't know.
Yeah. They've probably mutual inspiration in terms of their morbid, grotesque violations of human beings, if you will.
Yeah. It's all an intimidation thing. It's just to make you fear them, which it works, because that's horrific.
That's why I'm with you on Trump doing this. I do believe that there are probably on those boats non-cartel members. They're just working with cartels. They're probably quote unquote working men, because I worked with illegals in my prior jobs, and they had told me about sometimes there's like a temptation, or they have in the past sold drugs. And so same thing with other so-called working dishonest men who are down there in those other countries. And if you make it as scary to run drugs up to America because Trump might do an airstrike on your boat, then that'll give them the excuse not to work with the scary cartels, because the cartels are scary because they'll kill you. Well, Trump will kill you too. So now I think that's a right way to do it. Well, rather than give them a slap on the wrist and a court date,
I find it hard to believe that there's even regular working people in other countries that are working for the cartel that don't know they're working for the cartel.
Good point.
I think people are smart enough to know who they're working for. And that's sort of a risk you run,
right?
Is if you're working for the cartel. Let's say you just, your maintenance on one of their yachts or something like that. You run the risk of another cartel coming in and shooting you up.
Yeah,
because that's the risk you run for working for those people, and you know that.
right.
So now one of the risks of working on a ship for the cartel is you get blown up by us.
And I think that he's done 17 boats by now, Trump has. And I think it's something like 60 people who've been killed. And rest in peace to them. No ill will, but that's what we got to do to protect the country. And also, hopefully, we can clamp down on the druggies, the drug users, and the drug dealers locally here, both of them, because I don't believe that addicts are victims. They are criminals themselves. You know, they shouldn't be treated like victims.
They made their own decision.
Yeah, it's what you said. It kind of reminds me of these illegals who are getting rounded up and deported. They knew the risk of being here. They know that they don't belong here. They know that at any point they could get picked up and deported, and that's what's happening. And it's only right, I think.
Well, I don't know if you remember, and I don't know if I said it on this show, but when Trump won, and there was a lot of support for him. I said, I was like, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to start like sort of shedding off, because what you're going to see is Trump is going to go after the criminals, of course, that are illegals, but he's going to eventually start going after people who are just illegal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that may be, some guy who's been living here for 30 years or whatever, and he has a family. Like the point is though, that that's just part of the law. That's the law. Like, he's not supposed to be here. Like, I could sympathize with his situation, but like at the same time, it's the law. I have friends and family that don't have their papers together and stuff, and I tell them all the time. I've been telling them for a decade, get it in order. I'm telling you.
Totally.
So my point is though, is that you're seeing that now. There's a lot of people who are starting to shed their support for Trump, because that's what he's doing. He's basically just enforcing the law, and a lot of people, they don't have the the balls to kind of stand behind it. They get their heartstrings pulled at very easily.
Yeah, that's why you can't be emotional like Joe Rogan or my competitor or these liberals and people, because right is still right. Just because you're friends with them, just because you know them, or just because a woman gets pushed because she's pushing on a man. Remember that border agent or whatever that guy was, Customs and Border Protection guy, this mother/wife, purported wife, was like saying, oh, if they pulled my hair, they're going to kill me. They're going to kill my husband. I wanted to go with my husband. And the guy ends up just, I don't know if he loses patience or what, but he pushes her down or he pushes her away from him, and she ends up on the ground, and he points at her. And it was this drama about, oh, this is terrible. This guy definitely hits women. But she brought it on herself because she was assaulting him, and she was breaking the law and trying to help her husband resist arrest or try to go with him out of order. So you can't fall for that emotional. Yeah, it's emotional propaganda. But when you're clear thinking about it, she was in the wrong. So whatever.
Yeah. Well, they do it because, yes, on the surface, I think we all empathize with that. Not with her hitting a cop or doing any of that, but we all empathize with the emotion of like, okay, she's gonna probably lose her husband and her whole life is gonna change. Sure, I get that. I would hate to go through that, but that's why they do it, is because they know deep down inside we all are empathetic people. They try to just make it seem like we're not. They make it seem like we're sitting here laughing at that. You know what I mean? what we're laughing at is like the ridiculousness of them not realizing they are breaking the law. You can't hit a cop. You can't obstruct. And the problem is they come from third world countries where that's not understood,
Right.
Or I think they do come from also other countries that it is understood where they can't do that to cops, or they'll get, beat to death.
Good point.
So they come here and they think that we're soft, which we are for the most part.
Yep.
And they can get away with that stuff.
Totally, man.
But either way, I don't support that behavior.
I saw a tweet, a post on X that showed this woman who's the female governess. female president of Mexico, Cernovich said Mexico is a narco state. And he said any military action taken by the United States to deal with Mexico would have OPSEC blown. OPSEC, operational security, blown, deal the border and deport. And he quote tweets this thing that says Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum just said fighting a war against drug cartels is unlawful because it would violate the rights of drug traffickers and would be, quote unquote, fascist. Quote, and this might be translated from Spanish, I don't know. Returning to the war against the narco is not an option. First, because it is outside the framework of the law. I said or have said on several occasions it is permission to kill without any trial. And this person, Behizi, tweets, George, states, she must be drinking from the same cup as Kamala Harris because what the heck is she saying? So
she's...
Okay, go ahead.
This is what somebody told me that comes from, countries like that, Mexico too, is whenever you hear politicians talking like that, it's because they're working for the cartel. They're getting paid by the cartel. There's no other logical reason as to why she's saying, like, what rights are we violating of drug traffickers?
Right.
Their right to traffic drugs?
Yeah. Claudia
she's
Sheinbaum.
Definitely working for the cartel, I believe.
You may be right. Didn't some of her opponents get assassinated during the run for president or something like that?
I'm not sure.
There is like this corrupt culture in Mexico, and then they come over here and act like our cops are corrupt like them, which they're starting to become that way because some of them are becoming cops here.
Or that Trump is as corrupt as them.
Yeah.
Get out of here. You're working for the cartel. Stop.
That's interesting, man. They basically run the show. But I wouldn't be surprised, too, if a little bit of this is convincing the liberals and the intellectuals, because they'll fall for something like that. They'll be like, oh, you gotta follow people's rights. You got to respect people's rights. Meanwhile, you're violating and bringing down the whole country with homeless rights, so-called rights. You can't throw their stuff away, even though it's littering the street and polluting. And I don't know, it's just the contrast between men and women. There's the guy who's the president or whatever he is of El Salvador. He doesn't care about anybody's rights. He's throwing any gang member into the prison over in El Salvador, bringing down the crime majorly. I'm sure there's some people who are relatively less guilty, who are suffering in prison because the culture and the crime is so out of control. It's kind of like blacks catching heavier heat from the police because they're in the high crime areas. And so if you're touching the surface of the crime and you get caught up, that's what you get.
Well, it's also like even with like the immigration thing, because they'll go, oh, well, this person got caught up in the whole thing and they're actually innocent. And it's like, I keep my mind open to like, okay, maybe that's possible just based off of the numbers.
Right.
Then when they show you the people who got caught up in it, their stories are actually lies too. Like they're either criminals or, they had domestic violence charges on them, or, they were connected to the MS-13.
Right.
We all know the guy what's his name? Abrego or whatever.
Yeah, Abrego Garcia, whatever the guy's name is.
Literally every time I look into one of those stories, it's always a lie.
Yeah.
It's always a lie.
Yeah, his own wife didn't like that. You're talking about the quote-unquote Maryland man.
Yes. Was he the barber or the other guy was the barber?
I don't know. I hadn't heard the barber detail, but his wife or whatever that woman is had accused him of domestic violence a few years back, and one of them, either the ex-boyfriend or the new boyfriend or something, said that he was a MS-13 and scared of him or whatever. So what a mess, huh? And then, like you said, the liberal media always tries to downplay and deceptively downplay what the real story is. Crazy.
Yeah. And what I found out that works whenever you're debating a liberal on like crime or anything like that, call them out right away and tell them every single argument you're about to make is going to favor criminals and not the victim. And I guarantee you're not even going to think about the victim in your whole argument.
Yeah.
And it really throws them off. it throws them right off because they know it's right. They know I'm telling the truth.
That's a good point, man.
That's and it puts them behind the 8 ball because now it's kind of reversing it on them. The same thing they try to pull the heartstrings.
Yeah.
You just do the same thing to them.
That's true, because they don't actually have consistent empathy for everybody. Nobody does. Nobody can.
Yeah.
It's not even your job.
It's not even possible.
That's true. I want to get to some calls here before too long. Is there anything that you wanted to bring? We didn't really discuss topics. I have some topics, if not.
Yeah, we did. Well, funny enough, because I wanted to talk about the Mamdani win.
Yes.
And then I was listening to the show yesterday, and I heard Art call in.
Yeah.
And I think me and Art don't usually get along, right?
Right.
I don't know if he's the one. Yeah, but I totally agreed with his take on because I was gonna come in and kind of make the same take. He was just a little more, further in the anger than I was, but I totally see where he's coming from in that I hear a lot of right wingers making this point of, oh, well, that's New York. That's what they wanted and they voted for it. So let them have it. And to me, I feel like that's kind of a weak take on this whole thing because in reality, it's just American conservatives kind of giving up ground and being naive and docile, I think, in that in reality, Mamdani shouldn't have even been able to run for office. The second he started pushing, his support for communism, he should have been.
Not going to be going to New York
sorry
City.
about that.
No.
Yeah, I'm showing one of those. I guess it's a normie conservative. Is that?
Yeah, I actually shared this, and this is kind of the thing that sparked it in my head.
Yeah,
was PBD, which I love PBD. I love his podcast. I think he's a good dude.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is just kind of a weak take on it in that, like, we're giving up ground and we shouldn't be doing that. We should have already been calling for the deportation, and now we should be calling for the impeachment of Mamdani because of that. Legally, we're allowed to deport immigrants that support communism.
Nice. And where does that carry from? Is that from the 50s or 60s or when?
I think it's around that. Yeah, it's from that time.
Nice.
I guess
during the Red Scare.
The time we actually focused on true enemies.
Right. And the true enemies are within. And we're bringing in, we're bringing in problem people. But we're also like raising and brainwashing problem people.
Right. And I just think that's what we should be doing is we should be calling for, whether it comes true or not or whatever. But the point is we need to start making trends. And that's what works, especially online.
Yeah.
Is it needs to be a trend calling for the impeachment and deportation of Mamdani.
Right.
And I think the reason we don't do that is because of the whole xenophobia thing. And there's people that are still scared of those labels.
Well, that's why I love boomers so much. Because guys like Trump, based boomers like Trump, and he's not even particularly quote unquote based, but he's just a normal guy, JLP. Trump has said, well, then I'll arrest him, about if he impedes ICE or whatever. Back in July, JLP played it yesterday on his show. Back in July, it was suggested that Mamdani, the communist, as he called him, may try to impede ICE from rounding up the illegals in New York. Well, then I'll arrest him. And we shouldn't be having communists running in New York. And like Art said, more than just communists, we have like Muslims everywhere, all over the country, getting into government. And they're not like they love Christian and white people, Muslims. They're like anti-white people, anti-conservative Muslims. It doesn't make any sense.
They want to destroy our country. They're openly saying it.
Yeah.
Like and even they'll agree with this, is that our Christian American sort of lifestyle just doesn't line up with their lifestyle. The Western world just can't coexist with Islam. It is what it is. And even they agree with that. That's why they want to destroy our society.
Right. I know. That's crazy. Were these people who were worshiping on your Twitter feed on Crishaun the Don, Crishaun, the Don, THEDON, on X, guys? Are these New York people who are like praising and worshiping in a church?
Oh, yeah,
are they doing? Is that for Mamdani? Who's that for?
Sorry, I can't hear what you were saying.
Oh, sorry. Here, let me crank this down. Are they? Is that Mamdani?
They look like northeasterners.
Yeah.
I assume they're New Yorkers.
Vote NYC. Oh, vote with our voices. Oh, so they're just worshiping voting and government and mess and doing a clap. These are men. I see a bunch of men, males.
Beta.
Lord have mercy.
The thing, well, that's why I wrote on my caption is when you don't have God, you turn to politicians.
Yeah.
You worship politicians. You worship men.
That's so crazy.
To me, like as somebody who grew up in the church, that is like, it's so weird to me.
It is.
Like to see people like doing up praise and worship and they're singing about voting.
Yeah.
So empty.
It really is, man. It is so crazy. People are secularists now. Even the Christians are secularists. I have this super chat that I've been meaning to read for a bit. And here, let me turn that off. Pork Chop Express sent this to me. And it was a couple of days ago on Rumble. And I sometimes miss my Rumble rants because I stream on YouTube and elsewhere. Pork Chop Express yesterday said, or 2 days ago said, Ronnie, also known as Joe Jr. I don't know if you're familiar with Ronnie in Ohio, but I know that
I remember him.
You've spoken with Joe from Phoenix, whom I had to ban. I had to put him at arm's length because he just wants the show taken down, basically. He's a communist. Gotcha. Ronnie in Ohio says that Trump lost more jobs than he created, meaning like the so-called unemployment numbers, which are not jobs, okay? It's not the number of jobs lost or won. He doesn't mention that the government lockdowns, which is local governments, not the federal government, for a flu, he calls it the flu. I call it the China virus. A little bit more than a flu, nothing to sneeze at. Of course, even the flu is nothing to sneeze at. Flus can kill too. Or why those numbers came about. Yeah, the shutdowns were what destroyed businesses and jobs and stuff. And Trump was calling for the government to reopen. I bet he claims ignorance on per capita too. He black. And so I sent this to Ronnie. And Ronnie said, Baldman 54 dogs. Fact, Trump had a negative net loss of jobs during his first administration. Meaning negative net gain, right? Of jobs during his first administration. The reason, quote unquote, why doesn't change what? LOL. It's irrelevant to the point being made. So claims he. But if it's not Trump's fault, if it's the liberals' fault for destroying the economy, then how are you going to hold Trump responsible? How do you blame the Trump presidency for that? You don't. It doesn't make sense. But he's like, I'm interested in results, not excuses. What a mess, huh? What type of thinking is this? So it sounds like he's excusing the liberals, pretending that he's not excusing Trump. Do you run into this type of mindset?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just, it's obvious what it is. It's like they're just being unfair to like, or inconsistent, I should say. I don't care necessarily about fairness, but like inconsistent in that they're willing to scrutinize Trump way more than the other side. And then they'll go, I'm not actually a liberal. I'm not actually a Democrat.
Right.
And that's the thing that annoys me is just the lying in it. Just admit what you are, and then we can have an honest conversation.
I don't even know if he's a Democrat because Joe from Phoenix claims not to be a Democrat. He was a black Republican, but he was one of the black. He's a black Republican, meaning he voted for Obama twice, and he thought Obama was a great president.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, every time I asked him, okay, what do you? Because this is what I say to most people that claim to be centrist when they're obviously liberals.
Right.
I go, well, what Republican or conservative viewpoints do you agree with that makes you a centrist? And they can never answer it, or they'll make up something that's not conservative.
Right. I was surprised because, you know, these guys, they act like, oh, they're not for abortion, they're not for same-sex marriage, but they are for those things. And the reason that they are for those things is because they are secularists. They think that the other day, Ronnie distinguished holy matrimony from marriage. Marriage is a government thing. Holy matrimony is a God holy thing.
Mm-hmm.
But how does marriage benefit society if it's not the real thing? Because society is benefited by fathers and mothers getting married, being moral, raising their kids right. That's benefits society. That raises kids, children who are contributors rather than takeawayers of society. They don't become homeless bums. They don't go on welfare. They don't commit crimes per capita. But same-sex marriage doesn't produce children, and it produces this victim mindset and confusion, and nothing beneficial comes from it other than this fake feeling of, oh, you're not discriminating. But you have to discriminate. You should be discriminating in what you give privileges to. Because you naturally, when there's a father and mother, when there's a married mother and father, you naturally treat them as one.
Yes. And when there's like requirements to certain things, there's going to naturally be discrimination.
Right.
Some people aren't going to meet those requirements.
Yeah. True.
So it's like if you're having a Christian marriage, which I guess, you know, marriage is a religious thing.
Right.
Yeah, like what do you...
But it's also a societal thing. It builds a society. You build up your population through marriage and family. Or that's the real right way. It's the only really right way to build up a society, a strong one anyway. Country.
Yeah, but a marriage with certain like values ascribed to it. Like, for instance, a marriage where it's, you know, it's still an open relationship. I don't really consider that a marriage.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They've gone way loosey-goosey since who knows when. The flappers, I guess.
You see, they're about to have a hearing about reversing gay marriage in the Supreme Court.
I heard that. And I don't know if they're going to do it, but it was a long shot from Kim Davis, the real Rosa Parks, as opposed to Rosa Parks, who's the fake Rosa Parks. You remember Kim Davis? You might not remember. Yeah. You do?
No, I remember the like, I don't know how she was connected to this though. I remember the story.
Okay, so Kim Davis was a county registrar type of person. I'm totally botching what the name of her title was. But she was out of maybe Indiana, somewhere Midwest. I don't know geography. But she was in some county, and these two gays were like, gay guys, came up and wanted to get their so-called marriage certificate or license from her, and she wouldn't issue it to them. She's like, that's not a real marriage. And she got like arrested or something. And those guys are like absolutely ridiculous, being all vicious and angry. And it was like a national story. And so she sued, and it went somehow to the Supreme Court to overturn this Obergefell versus Hodges, forcing everybody to recognize something that's not real. You can have your little contract between yourselves that you're committing to each other, but you don't have to make us go along and pretend that that's a marriage. So anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
It's like the birthday cake.
You're right.
Like they don't have your gay cake if you want, but don't force me to bake it.
Right. I'll bake the thing and then you write the thing yourself.
Yeah.
Because that guy who baked that gay cake or refused to bake the gay cake, he made stuff for gay customers. He just didn't make the thing for the specific so-called same-sex marriage. It's not like he discriminated against the gays completely. He was fine with serving gays for whatever birthday cake or whatever. I don't know what.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to do the so-called same-sex marriage cake. Now, there's smarter ways to go about it. You can take the sinner's money. I guess we're going to have to start to hide under rocks. But it's interesting. What a mess. But
yeah, it's pretty.
But Ronnie's a Christian, and he distinguishes holy matrimony. Who uses the word holy matrimony?
Yeah, anymore, right?
What a mess.
Your justice of the peace. Well, that's why I think the whole human secularist thing is kind of a joke. It doesn't even really make sense, and doesn't even.
It's like the narcos' rights. You're surrendering your country so that the narcos and the Muslims and everybody else can take over. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just, well, I think the thing that it promotes is the whole thing of what binds us together is our differences. And in reality, in reality, what binds us together is like what I love is when I find people that are like-minded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I meet somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm a Trump supporter, conservative, Christian.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, let's go. I'll die for you.
Right. There's like
You know
a
what I mean?
brother. It's like a natural brotherhood, and some of it's like ego, but some of it's like, I mean, you're supposed to be one culture, and culture means religion, in part. You have to have a similar religion.
Well, you can have your differences, but if your foundation
right
is different, then it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact is that like human secularists, they built their whole worldview on the back of Christianity without giving Christianity its credit.
Yeah.
And that like they can't even explain where they get their morality from.
Yep. Most
like
of them were raised Christian.
Right. And that's where they're
swimming
in
Christian. They're swimming in not just Christianity, but like the Western, I don't know, Greek, Roman, whatever the founders were. Some of them were maybe not Christian, but most of them were. But you're right.
Well, it wasn't atheism that built America.
Right. True.
You know what I mean? So they also live in a Christian society without having to admit it's a Christian society.
Yeah.
They like to think America's a secular society, which it's not.
Yeah.
It's the more that we become one, the less we become a power, less we become a society.
The weaker and more destroyed we become.
Yeah.
I remember Obama said we are no longer a Christian nation. And,
right.
And
their whole thing is that we're binded by our humanity. We're all humans, and that's the basis of their whole thing. And it's not true. Like
human beings hate each other. If you haven't noticed,
without God, we segregate, we kill each other, we steal each other's stuff. And again, you can't tell me as a human secularist, where do you get your value of it's wrong to kill people?
Yeah.
And it shows even in that, like, they support abortion. So they still support murder. They just don't call it murder. That's how they get around it.
They just dehumanize the babies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you can do that if you don't have morality that's beyond you. That's totally. God. Humans, we can just make up our own morality. We've done it for centuries.
I wanted to get to some calls, and I have some super chats. Yes. And there was a competitor of ours has resurfaced. He was interviewed by another competitor of ours. And I wanted to get your take on it and have some super chats regarding that. But let's get to Greg in the Midwest is on the line over here. A few calls here. Greg in the Midwest, you're live with Crishaun the Don of the Misfit Nation and Hake.
What's up?
Hey, GREGGATRON.
What's good with y'all?
All is well. It's good to hear from you.
Good. Yes, sir. What up, Crishaun the Don?
How are you, brother? Oh, you're GREGGATRON
pretty good,
from the
pretty
chat.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's me. Yes, sir. Okay, so what are y'all's thoughts on that Mexican president who was quote-unquote fondled?
Did you hear about that, Crishaun?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Claudia Sheinbaum, the woman who said we don't want to violate the rights of the narco terrorists or whatever, or the cartels. Mm-hmm. This clip came out. It was on the Jesse Lee Peterson show a few hours ago. That a man who may have been drunk or inebriated in some way kind of did a reach around over her shoulder and touched her in like a sensitive area of for a woman and tried to kiss her or something. And now he's charged. I don't know. They're accusing him of groping and harassment, and she's pressing charges for all women, and it's an international story now, and women are talking about being touched by men, even the president of Mexico.
I think what it is the liberals are super desperate right now, and that they're going back to their old tricks, and that they're gonna try to pull at heartstrings. They're gonna try to have their women accuse everybody of rape.
Yeah,
and it's just in reality, because all right, look at this whole thing with Mamdani and the other guys winning, the Democrats winning. They're calling this a blue wave. And I think it's funny because it's like Democrats beat each other and then call it a blue wave.
I know.
It's like that's how delusional and desperate they are. So just to kind of root it back, I think we're just going to see old tricks. And this is one of them, is they're going to try to reinvigorate the Me Too movement, even though that kind of destroyed their credibility and reputation.
I know.
They're still pushing transgenderism. That's destroying their credibility. I'm fine with it.
You know, one of the
ahead.
women in the clip said, in the news clip that I saw on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, said, if it were a man, he wouldn't have done that to a man. And I'm like, exactly. That's why a man should be in charge. A man is taken a bit more seriously. He's not as naturally attractive in that way to men. And it's just right. It's only right. Women are to be seen and not leading. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
Remove them from politics. That's what I say.
Here's my whole thing. So I thought she's supposed to be a strong woman, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a strong woman, why would you even let that bother you one way or the other? She's famous. She's the most important, most popular person in the country. This happens to you, and you take it the wrong way, and now you want to pout about it. But check this out. No such thing as a strong woman, right? But
yeah,
if the shoe was on the other foot, if this was a man, if this was Putin or Trump or Netanyahu, and if a female did that to one of them, do you think one of those guys would have freaked out? Or let's just say one of YouTube. You know what I mean? Like,
gone online and said
women will do that type of stuff to us, and it's like not a big deal. And I'm not saying this guy was right for what he did. He was drunk, obviously, but
yeah.
My point
I'm
is,
seeing it now. It is pretty frisky, but
yeah. But as a man, it wouldn't have been a big deal.
I'm laughing with them, not at them.
No. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, it's.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like well, first off, I don't think anybody would try that with a man, like a guy.
I remember one time a guy got grabbed by the head and kissed on the forehead. Somebody grabbed him on the head and pulled his forehead down and kissed him on the forehead. It was like, what is that, the kiss of death or something? I feel like I saw that happen to a world leader or something.
I remember there was a reporter that tried to kiss Will Smith on the.
I was about to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, you remember
Will
that?
Smith smacked him, I think.
Nice.
He slapped the guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was not a big deal. He was like, this guy tried to kiss me in my mouth. And then he slapped him, and that was funny, and that was it.
Yeah, but you're right. And then what happened with Will Smith? He just moved on. It wasn't like it was sexual assault case and all that stuff. I mean, he screwed up later, but
it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
But hey, I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
Especially Hake. So, do either of you have like childhood friends who watch your show or family members who watch your shows? And if so, do they ever reach out to y'all like, yo, I watched your show, blah, blah, blah. This is crazy. So, like, what do they think of y'all shows when you either see them or when you hear from them?
That's a good question.
Very rarely have I heard any feedback from family or friends about my shows. I can count maybe 3 times, maybe a little bit more. Sometimes my aunt will, when she sees me, she and my uncle will talk and laugh about how she sometimes thinks that I'm crazy, going too far, or rude, or whatever. And she gets kind of mad, and my uncle tells her to turn it off, and she resists calling in. One time she texted me, and I read her text on air. And then, okay, so that's one. Because I guess my aunt's more liberal than me a little bit. I don't know. And then my mother has sometimes responded here and there very loosely. And I just, I don't really respond. I just let it be.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against her or whatever. It's best not to call attention. And then one time a friend of mine whom I had on my show years ago, the other year, I saw him and he's like, do you really believe what you say? I'm like, what do you, I didn't really respond. I don't remember if I responded at all. I may have responded a little bit, but I was kind of baffled because I don't think of myself as controversial, or I would think of myself as a pretty nice guy. I may say stuff that's a little crazy sounding to people who are used to political correctness, but political correctness is phoniness. And so that phoniness is so foreign to me because I work with Jesse. I hear Jesse all the time, and he's way more frank than I am because he's not constantly thinking about YouTube censorship like I am, So I'm like censoring myself for the sake of the channel. And so I was a little baffled, but I didn't really respond. So nothing has ever been a big deal between my friends. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
How about you, Sean? What about you?
I get about the same because I'm also relatively the same in real life as I am on stream.
Yeah.
I just, amp it up a little bit more on stream.
Right.
For my show anyway. I get more of from my grandmother because she's a devout Catholic, so she's with the cursing and this and that.
Right.
She gets more mad about that kind of stuff. I get more shock from if people I work with, because I tend to be a little more reserved at work just because I think it's the professional thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't spout off my liberal, I was gonna say, my political views at work. So when I get friends that stumble on my show or they find my show somehow, they get more like, "Whoa, I didn't know you thought that." But I don't really get a lot of people who are confrontational in real life.
Yeah.
Even if they disagree with me. That's why I think the internet is so fake, because everybody's so confrontational and ready to fight, but in real life they're not. So,
right.
Yeah, that's kind of, I guess, my answer more or less.
That's cool.
Have you gotten feedback?
I'm gonna let you guys get to some more callers.
Have you gotten feedback on your content, GREGGATRON?
Sometimes, I have a family member, like my sister's husband. They'll be like, "Oh, my family member saw your stuff and was like, is this my sister's brother?" So he'd be like, they see little stuff and it's laughable.
So they're not on board with what you're about.
They ain't about that life.
Yeah, they just don't know.
Yeah, you just stick with it. Here's the other way to do it is whenever somebody comes at me like that in real life, I'm more like, okay, well, what did you disagree with? And I just have a conversation with them. So, yeah, if you say something online or on your show and, really just stick by it. If you're wrong, and you realize it, then, take it back. But, yeah, stick by what you believe and just have the conversation with people. I've had people, like family members, disown me because I'm a Trump supporter. So,
yeah.
I've
had friends do the same thing. Big time. Yeah, your show is really good to listen to. It's really easy to listen to, Hake. It's fun. As far as calling it, do you remember when Zenny said you're his favorite Bond person to call?
Yeah.
I know what he means, because you just let people flow and you don't really judge. You just kind of go with the flow yourself, and you don't really dictate which direction the conversation goes. You just kind of go with the flow. So if you ever quit your job at Bond, you could be a therapist and make all kinds of money.
Going with the flow and making people feel good. Nice.
Yeah, like, cause I'll imagine Hake being a therapist, somebody sitting on his couch. Hake would be like, well, guys, don't be a communist about it. You know.
Right on, man. Thank you for the
or you know what you'd be good at, Hake. Have you ever heard of Art Bell?
I've heard of Art Bell. Did he die or
I don't think so.
Yes, he died like a few years ago. I was a huge fan of his show, but he would do like literally have somebody call in and they'd be like, I'm a time traveler. And he would like kind of just explore it.
Right.
And take it kind of serious, but not serious. But I think you'd be good at that kind of stuff too.
Nice.
Oh yeah. It's definitely something to look into.
Right on.
Cool, fellas. All right. Happy Friday.
Thank you.
Take
You
it
as well.
easy, GREGGATRON.
All right. See you. Bye.
Bye. Before I get back to the calls, are you based or a normie or both? Crishaun the Don of the Misfit Nation.
I mean, I don't even know if I want to use the term based because I feel like that's just woke for right wingers.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a black term, actually.
Yeah.
This is black vernacular. Didn't a rapper call himself based little god or little bass god or something like that?
Oh, bass god, yeah.
He's the one who came up with based. And then the right wingers took it over. And now the left wingers are using it, referring to stuff as based that's based in their imagination and emotions. It's dumb.
Yeah, I don't even know what the word means anymore.
Well, what I always took it as, what I used to take it as, was based on a solid foundation of truth.
Yes.
So yes.
Well, now it just means you don't like Jews.
I know. Oh yeah, true. I know. That's partly what I think of. Yeah. So you're a normie.
I guess I don't know.
Normies have not been exposed to the truth, especially not the truth about Jewish people, I guess.
Well, that's just based on somebody else's opinion.
Is that based? I think that...
Based on what?
Yeah, I consider myself to be... I was much more normie before JLP, but I was always sort of based as well because my family was conservative, Christian, conservative, normal, white, whatever. We didn't think of ourselves as white. We were just Christians. But I didn't know things like JLP. I was introduced to Jesse by church. And so one time after church, somebody brings up the illegals. He said, they need to be all deported. I was like, whoa. Because I had illegal friends and I had heard an opinion by a friend/family type of member. Well, they're here. So just let them be here. Let them stay here. So I had sort of adopted that mindset, even though I was also, I was torn because my brother was really angry, anti-illegal. And we listened to talk radio and he's into politics and hateful like that. And so I was like, oh, maybe he's not right about everything. But I knew that he was right about spiritual stuff. But I guess that I consider myself normie friendly and based friendly, flat earth friendly and balltard friendly.
I've always considered myself a realist.
Right.
Like just what is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I accept truths that even if I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I'm very much like a person that, like, you know, look, I'm not somebody who believes the Jews run the entire planet and they're the reason for all of our misery. But if you can prove it and show me evidence, go ahead. I'm open to it. That's the type of person I am. I don't know what that's considered.
Right on. I have a super chat or two, and I feel like this is sort of related. Popcorn's Thump Keg. We all know Popcorn, right?
Yes.
He bought a coffee. Not sure if you were serious about this, but you mentioned previously you'd be okay with black people not being able to vote because black people primarily vote for Democrats. And you said the country would be better off if black people weren't allowed to vote. Says Popcorn. I sort of vaguely remember saying that. Is that honestly your position or were you trolling? I was I don't know, a little bit of both. Because, these blacks don't even know what's going on, and then they're told they're lied and they're fear-mongered, and they're believing the racism lie, and so whatever.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I've been seeing all these welfare queens do their EBT videos, and they're we ain't getting no SNAP benefits. I've been watching every single one of those videos. I get mad that I'm like, these people have the same voting rights I do. I don't think they should be allowed to vote.
Right.
And I'm dead serious.
Yeah. It's really a shame. I have speculated, and I don't know if it's true, that these people who work for the government, who are all mad about the shutdown, and all they do is work against Trump, they're 95, 98% liberal, or 85%, depending on the department. And they primarily donated to like Hillary Clinton, and for decades it's been like this. I don't know if government workers should be allowed to vote. And I get maybe the military, if they're put in harm's way, then they're maybe, I don't know. But it's a mess. You have like bribery of a populace. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I remember reading something that back, at the founding of America, the only people that were allowed to vote were like property owners.
Yep.
Like you had to have some kind of stake.
Yeah.
In America, right. Like not voting wasn't necessarily a right, I guess.
Yeah. True. Exactly.
So, yeah, I think I'm fine with America going a little like closer to that.
Yeah, me too.
Than it is now, because all these people who like have no stake other than where's my free stuff.
People have said if you're on welfare, maybe you shouldn't be able to vote. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you should give up your right to vote if you're going to be a ward of the state, pretty much.
Because you're just going to vote for more free stuff,
Yeah.
Popcorn continues. I believe in 2020, roughly 40% of whites who voted cast their ballot for Joe Biden, claims he to have heard. Once that number is consistently over 50%, would you then say that white people shouldn't be voting? Well, we could do the landowner thing. You see how slippery that slope gets, says Popcorn. I only point that out because at times you espouse viewpoints that line up with outcome that you're in favor of, but when the same standard is applied to another group of people, it's like, wait a minute. Just genuinely curious if you really believe we shouldn't have the ability to vote, or what your position is on that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, oh, go ahead.
It's not about the outcome, Popcorn. It's about the spirit and the mindset that motivates a vote for a Democrat. If you're voting for a Democrat, 99% of the time, 99.999.9999, you're a foolish person. You're anti-America. So anyway, whatever. Yeah.
Well, when you look at it that way from like a racial standpoint, then yeah, that's where people get like emotional about it. Like me personally, I don't care. When I said welfare queens earlier, I was talking about white people too.
Right.
There's a lot of white people on welfare.
Yeah.
And yes, I think all of them should not be allowed to vote. If it's 50% of the country, that is on welfare, then they shouldn't be allowed to vote. I'm sorry.
It's not quantity, it's quality. We want quality votes, not quantity votes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Lastly, something lighthearted from Popcorn is this actual footage of Hake and his siblings being awakened for church on Sunday morning? Just kidding. And here it is. And I'm trusting him because he's trustworthy.
Go ahead.
Glory, rise and shine.
Oh no.
Give God the glory, glory, rise and shine.
And give God the glory, glory. Of the Lord, rise and shine and give God
the glory, glory, rise and shine and give God the glory, glory,
rise and shine and give God the glory, glory of the Lord. That's totally my mother, except she doesn't sing all fancy with her. She sings much more normal woman, but it totally looks like my mother. Except my mother was a little bit more ladylike. That was a little bit mannish and aggressive, but it could have been like my auntie. I called him auntie. So anyway, funny Popcorn. Totally. That's totally. It's totally my mom.
That's how you were woken up for church
Well,
or school.
I don't know. There was times where my mother sang that actual song.
Nice.
It's the only time I've ever heard that actual song. All right.
By the way, that reminds me, no women should vote.
Yes.
Not a one.
I know. And it's totally true. And Popcorn said that women should, and I forgot to ask him why he thinks that the women should. What good has it done the country? John R. Lott Jr. said that progressivism has arisen because of the women voting. And it's totally true. And which is to say communism and socialism, the destruction of the country. What a shame.
Well, it really comes down to, like, I forget what you were saying earlier, but it sparked in my head. It comes down to just, like, there's people who are afraid to make decisions and there's people who make decisions.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what really, like, progressivism and, you know, the Democrats, for the most part, they don't have solutions and they're afraid to make those decisions to, you know, prescribe something to actually work.
Yeah.
And you see that even in, like, the regular workplace. I've noticed, like, women leaders are afraid, they're terrified of making decisions, and that's why most of the time they fail. It's because they're just inactive, or they rely on other people to make the decision, and then they lose all their respect. So that's kind of what I think it is.
Nancy Pelosi had sort of a fear like that. She was the first woman Speaker of the House. Did you know that?
I think so, yeah.
And she looked good doing it. So said some woman, Janice Hahn, somebody over here in California. And she's retiring. She's no longer going to be a congressman, a female congressman. And Trump cut through all the mess because she had that fear because she would count votes like a maniac, and she would not bring things to a vote unless she knew she had the votes. And she saw it as a weakness to bring things to a vote without knowing that she had the votes. So she was looking down on the men who were speakers of the House who didn't know if they had the votes or they didn't necessarily have the votes. They were hoping they had the votes. But she always made sure that she had the votes. They called her an architect of Obamacare, which is a joke. I remember she said, you have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. But isn't that crazy? That's a good way to govern.
It's like a mystery box.
Trump cut through the mess and called her an evil woman. He was quoted as saying maybe yesterday, and a huge liability for the country. And you're so right about that, man. They don't think straight.
And I noticed that too with Kamala when she was running. If you notice, the most of the things that she actually, like, said for sure she was gonna do is the thing she was stealing from Trump that she saw got a good reaction, like the no taxing on tips.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when everybody was like, "Oh, I'm voting for Trump for that," she was like, "I'm gonna no tax on tips."
That's an interesting take on that. I hadn't really considered that. And she also was afraid to criticize her boss. Oh, what would you do differently from Joe Biden? I can't think of anything. Remember that on The View?
Yeah.
Coward. These women.
And that's the thing. I'm not even going to say that she couldn't think of anything. I think it's more she's afraid to actually say it.
Yeah.
She's afraid to make a decision and say, yes, this is what I'm going to do. And that's the thing that people hate about Trump, because we gotten so, like, used to that indecisiveness that Trump came in and was like, no, I'm doing this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to close the border. I'm going to fix this and, whatever foreign country. Like, he's stuck to his guns for the most part.
Yeah. So true, man. I got to get to Garrett in New Hampshire on the line over here. Garrett, how you doing, man? Thanks for holding. What's up? You're live with Crishaun the Don.
Good morning, Crishaun. Good morning, Hake.
Hey.
All's doing well today.
Hey, Garrett.
Hey, so I was going to call you yesterday about the question and what you were talking about with regards to Mamdani. And it was actually like a blessing in disguise. You couldn't get to my call yesterday because I saw something pretty interesting afterwards.
Okay.
So looking at I had a conversation with my brother about Mamdani, and talking with him, he had expressed like great relief or enthusiasm that some of the big companies were going to be leaving New York and saying, I'm not going to be around here while this guy's running the state and whatnot. And I didn't really like feel too much about it. And I think that's where it like ties into the biblical question of like, can you live without judging yourself or others again? I just looked at it and I said, that just seems like a practical move. But, you know, he was very enthusiastic to hear them kind of, you know, like, I guess, not, you know, put up the middle finger to the state and be like, I'm out of here. And after that, I read online about the governor of New Hampshire putting up billboards, Kelly Coyote, and she had put up encouraging signs to have businesses that were in New York to come to New Hampshire because there are lower taxes and this and that. But I can see all the tax changes and where the budget goes when I get my mail any year, where they talk about like which things are going up and which things are going down and where the money's going to. And so it's kind of like her swooping in to go ahead and, you know, try to mommy them as well, whereas Mamdani's claims are very mama-ish as well.
So they were to escape into another mama fire out of the mama frying pan. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I mean, on paper it sounds amazing. You know, New Hampshire with lower taxes towards certain things, on paper sounds great, but I mean, just seeing it for what it is, it just, exactly what you said, escaping into another frying pan.
What a mess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but who's to even say that any of those companies could, like, survive in New Hampshire? Like, so, you know,
say that again,
from
please?
New York to New Hampshire, it's, like, totally different.
Yeah. Moving to New Hampshire may not be the good business move.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that.
I guess it would depend on what the business is, but
totally, man.
yeah, I don't know much about New Hampshire, so I can't really comment on.
Is it liberal like Vermont, which Vermont has elected Bernie Sanders, the socialist, over and over again? Is New Hampshire any different from Vermont?
There is a decent portion, and even where I live in, closer to the northern part, that there are a lot of people that are really liberal-minded, and some of the companies around here run pretty liberal. You know, like banning people from saying the truth and whatnot. And I mean, work isn't the place to go and change somebody's mind. So, you know, you just respect the workplace and do your job. But there are other parts that are a little more conservative. It's, I don't know, like north and south situation, some little pockets of red but a decent amount of blue. So I wouldn't say it's as liberal as Vermont, but it still has a fair amount of liberalism in it.
Yeah. Interesting. You guys have this whole landlocked portion, and then you just a tiny bit of beach property.
Yeah. No, it's
and then you're even touching Canada, it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm 6 hours away.
Nice. Okay, interesting. You're 6 hours from Canada, so you're in the northern half, but not the upper north.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
no, I'm pretty central northern, but
okay.
It's funny because just over the bend, Maine, and then we have Massachusetts, and then we have Vermont, and so we're like, I wouldn't say 50-50 split liberal Republican, but it's still pretty blue. But all around us is very, very liberal.
How many like big cities do you have? Probably not many, right?
No, I think like Manchester and Concord are the only two that I can think of right off the top of my head.
What's the capital in New Hampshire?
Concord.
Oh, I forgot about that. I know Montpelier, Vermont, because it starts in Mont, and Vermont ends in Mont. But I
word
don't.
association.
Yeah, because I memorized my states and capitals, but I didn't remember Concord.
Yeah.
Concord.
Yeah, no, it's fun to visit every once in a while, but it's not as like wild as you'd see like on some other states, cities, but it's still like you can tell that there's a very different vibe. I lived in towns most of my life. I grew up in Molten Borough in Meredith, and I don't live there anymore, so I don't mind saying that. You know, nobody's gonna find me there. But
well, we can drone the heck out of the northern central area, and we may get you.
True.
Although I disclaim
droning on the map.
So anyway,
I usually ask this question to find out how liberal or conservative a place is. What are your guns like? What's the gun situation?
Well, the people that are
like this.
Which way to the gun?
The people that own guns are very, very proud of it. I've actually been on properties, and there's like laws about not shooting close to other properties, and when you're hunting, you got to hunt in a different place, like several 100 feet away from houses. But I've been to a pig roast, and when I was at the pig roast, the fella who was running it was like, "Hey, let's go out," and brought out some shotguns, and we started shooting targets right in the yard.
That's
so
fun,
the people
man.
And you're
the
allowed
people
to
that
do
like guns really do. I don't know if it was completely legal, but we did it.
That's funny, man. I didn't realize that New York has the same similar situation. Like, New York is actually a very inland state, except for this little, whatever this portion is. I can't even really see the state outlines.
New York City and
New
Long
York
Island,
City
pretty
is
much.
Yeah. But Albany and everything else is all inland. I mean, I guess part of it, they have Niagara Falls with Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, I guess, touching New York on the other side towards
nobody goes there.
Canada, except for people who are stuck there. Wow, I went to Niagara Falls, and I didn't realize it's the whole other end of the state. Huh. Anyway.
They barely consider upstate New Yorkers to be real New Yorkers.
Right.
That's kind of like the whole thing.
Yeah. The upstaters have a moral looking down upon the regular New Yorkers, if you will.
Yeah, maybe.
And I don't blame them necessarily.
Totally different.
Yeah.
I look at it like how Florida is. Like they say the more south you go, the more north it gets.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Right.
Because then when you go up north in Florida, it gets more.
You go into the south, as opposed to the coastal liberal
we call it
areas.
Grady territory. That's
Grady.
what we call it here. Yeah. Sheriff Grady.
Oh, nice. Well, right on, man. Yeah. Thank you for the input, sir.
Very interesting.
Awesome.
Garrett,
thank you for taking my call.
All right. Take care, man.
All right, bud.
Take care.
Bye. Okay. I have super chats to get to and calls as well. Chris bought a coffee saying, Hake, Nick Fluentes is nothing like Trump. And he capitalized FLU. Is nothing like Trump, because I compared Nick Fuentes to Trump on multiple occasions, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you watch videos of them back to back, you'll notice Trump is never angry when speaking, but Fuentes is full of emotions like a female, says Chris. FYI, I'm aware of spelling it Fluentes. It's because he's a sickness to society and the Republican Party. He's dividing the party, and now Dems are gaining again. What up, Crishaun? He says, strong, regular arm emoji, and very black power fist, communist fist emoji. Says Chris.
That for me?
Yeah. And he misspelled Crishaun, and I don't think that he purposely misspelled Crishaun.
Crishaun.
K-R-E-S-H-A-W-N. That's not the correct spelling. It's C-R... Let me just show you guys.
That's how the blacks spell it.
C-R-I... Shaun. All right? Get it right. Crishaun the Don of the Misfit Nation. You can see him. There it is. So anyway, what's your take on, do you agree with Chris, or do you agree with me, or do you have your own unique take on our future president?
I kind Nick Fuentes, future president.
Right.
I kind of agree with Chris here. I do think Nick Fuentes is letting his emotions get the best of him, to the point where I've made the point before that I think Reupers are, pretty much just liberals, covert liberals, because they're doing the same thing that the black activists did, where they found an enemy that they could make a few arguments about, and now they're claiming that they're the problem to all of my problems. So more or less, they found their white supremacists. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
if
By
you really
white supremacists, they mean J supremacists for them.
Yes. So it's basically, if you really do follow the logic, it's the same thing that that BLM did. You know what I mean? They just found a way to say that they're being held down and oppressed by another race. Okay. And it's like, yeah, maybe you can make a few arguments that like Jews have power and they run this and that, and Israel. Like they try to make the argument that Trump is being run by Israel.
Yeah, I don't buy into that argument.
Yeah, and that's kind of the crux of their entire worldview.
Yeah.
As far as Trump, I should say, and that's why they turned on Trump. When their whole reasoning for turning on Trump is based off of a bunch of lies or exaggerations or misconceptions.
Yeah.
And it's like I think I'm a little smarter than that. I'm not a genius, but
right.
And also I don't believe that any one group is holding us back.
He does have a mob behind him. They are the Groypers. The Groypers can get real. There are Groypers who are nice. They love JLP and all that stuff. But there are Groypers who are just Team Fuentes, or they don't even maybe like Fuentes anymore. But they just are just full of hate. I mean, there's Jew blamers of all kinds, and they're just nasty.
Fuentes is no longer a Trump supporter. Like, he hasn't been one for a while. He actually campaigned against him in the last election. I think he just recently was saying that if we would have been better off with Kamala.
Really? He said that?
Yeah.
Did you catch his interview with Tucker Carlson?
Yeah, the whole Stalin thing.
No, just in general, everything.
Oh, no. I just really caught a few clips.
Okay.
The Stalin thing, and there was one other one. I can't place my finger on what it was, but...
What's your take on this Stalin thing?
At this point I don't know what's real and what's not as far as the Groypers go. Like, a lot of the times I feel like they're just being shock jocks. And that's what I felt like he was doing with the Tucker thing, of going like, I'm a big fan of Stalin, but we won't talk about that. And then he does the goofy laugh. Wasn't that shocking? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's like, all right, you're just trying to be edgy. But I did see a video where he was explaining his sort of love for Stalin, and it really comes down to this thing of like, well, he amassed a lot of power, and it was hard to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I mean, you can love anybody at that, or admire anybody that's amassed power. It's like how you amass the power, I think, is the thing to admire.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact is he was a communist. He, murdered millions of people. Like, I'm not going to sit there and go down. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think it's fair for people to say, okay, well, what do you like about the guy? And then if you don't want to offer up a reason, then like, okay, I don't know what to say with that. You're just trying to be edgy.
Somebody, I forget where I read it. Did I? I think I might have looked it up on Grok, since you brought up Stalin. Because I actually did search this. Nick Fuentes praises Stalin. Okay. So
he wasn't a noble leader.
I said, because I'm trifling and lazy, I said, are there any transcripts to Rumble shows or other podcasts in which Nick Fuentes explains why he likes Stalin on his podcast or anything? Please, just a few lines. And they do more than just a few lines, Grok. So on Tucker Carlson, he said that, but it didn't go into detail. And I heard that he really does like him. America First podcast clip from August 2025. He explains his fascination with him. While his methods were controversial, this is purportedly a quote. I don't know. Grok it may be false. At the end of the day, what he did, it worked. He highlights Stalin's transformation of Russia into a superpower and anti-degeneracy policies. Anti-degeneracy policies. Degeneracy is you know what degeneracy is. Earlier podcast mentioned March 2023, discussed in a Reddit thread from Fuentes' show, where he praises Stalin's anti-globalist stance and purges, aligning it with his America First views. For example, Stalin stopped the rot before it spread. So, it's sort of similar to what you said, but there is a little bit of values to it that Stalin was for. But everybody was based in the olden day, not to poo-poo him, but if you think about it, everybody was quote-unquote based in the olden days compared to today. In the 90s, we pretend like, oh, the Democrats were against same-sex marriage, you know. But anyway, one good thing about it was he was able to stop the rot before it spread and stuff like that, according to him. That's the explanation, whatever. I caught the whole thing between...
Yeah, but what's the...
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it really... there's also has to be a value in what he was promoting. Like, you have to take that into consideration as well. Like, all right, for instance, a lot of people like to say the same thing about Hitler. Oh, well, Hitler got rid of the degeneracy. And,
and he improved the economy or something.
Yeah, right. And as a Christian, I can go, okay, that's great. He got rid of the degeneracy in his country.
Yeah, the
and
trans
the homosexual stuff and all that. Yeah, but at the same time, he also murdered homosexuals. It's like
and that's not right. Yeah.
That's not right. Yeah. So yes, there's things that we can all go like, okay, they fall into our values, but at the same time, there's a way to go about that. There's a noble way and an evil way to go about it, I think.
True. Yeah, that's right.
Even back then, I think it was it's not a value that changes, like to murder people for what they believe. I don't believe that. You could call that liberal if you want, but I don't believe it to be liberal.
If as you and Chris say, he is our future president is a emotional person, then I could understand him more in terms of liking one of these guys who made some major changes, because as a young, impetuous person, a lot of us are frustrated at a lack of progress in changing America towards what's right again, because you can't do it overnight. But these guys seemingly did it overnight or over the course of several years. So maybe it's that type of a thing.
It was definitely slowly implemented. Like, they didn't just take over like with Obama. You know what I mean? That was all a buildup. I think it's Fuentes is definitely too emotional, and I think it's like, all right, I get you being angry about where America is and where America's going, but I think it's also just a lack of hope. And when you have a lack of hope and you really don't have a true belief in God, you kind of go into, again, relying on man to take care of your life. You get what I'm saying? Like, so it's easy for you to go, okay, well, we need fascism in this country in order to fix things. And in reality, no, we don't. We just need, like how Trump, came in and he was just a strong leader. That's all we need is men to stand up and be strong leaders again. Conservative Christian men.
And yet Trump is not breaking any laws. He's working within the framework that we have.
Yeah.
And they're trying to break laws. He's maybe bending laws and stuff like everybody does, like everybody before him has. But I guess you could call that breaking. But he's broken them no differently from how everybody else is breaking them, but in a different way for America rather than against America. And he's worked, like Jews are here and Israel is a power and they're influential. And so he's working with them in the best way for America that you can. And it's best for all involved as far as I can tell. But people are impatient. They think, oh, he should be deporting more. Well, yeah, he should, but he's not able to because of all the different reasons, judges and all that stuff. So same thing with the wars and all that. And the economy, too. It's like a long game. He's looking for the long-term good of America.
Yeah, but then when you go into the whole thing, because I remember when I came on one of the last few times, there was a debate about the white Africans being
Yeah, the
led into
South
the
Africans,
country.
huh?
Yeah, and that's where I was just questioning, like, hey, are they really going through a genocide? Should we really let them in? Is that the only option that we have here? Because we're going through our own immigration crisis right now.
Yeah.
And a bunch of white people were going like, oh, you're just a liberal that, you care about the Mexicans, but you don't care about the white. And I'm like, it's not that. I'm trying to vet people.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of white people, especially the Groypers, that fell into that. Like, oh, well, it's an interest of fairness of we let all these third world, Mexicans and South Americans in, but we can't let the white Africans in.
Oh, that's a funny picture. Anyway, let me
Yeah,
go
I just
find-
think,
But
I think it's,
you're good at profiling people, right?
What happened?
You're good at profiling people. Wouldn't you profile? You saw the pictures of these white South African refugees. Wouldn't you profile them? I know that appearances aren't everything, of course. A quick racial profile and family profile isn't everything. But these 60 people, it's just 60 guys, it's 60. These 60 white South African refugees of the genocide that's going on in South Africa, I think they'll be a net plus for America, as opposed
Based
to other
on what, though?
refugees. Based on how they look like they'd be contributors, and look like married father and mother with their children. It's not any single mother mess like they do with the other so-called refugees. It's not like they're bringing Ilhan Omar.
My point is this, though,
Uh-huh.
is the Groypers and people on the right got into the racial thing. They got into the racial identity thing, where it was like, I'm not making an argument from race. I'm making an argument from being a tax-paying American citizen, and I should be allowed to question who comes into my country.
Yeah, definitely. Right on,
So,
man.
so whether they come in or not, like, I could agree with you, Hake. I'm looking at them. They don't look like criminals.
Right.
They don't look like horrible people.
They don't look like
It's
leeches
profiling
who are
them.
just bumps on a log leeching off the government on welfare and mess.
Yeah, but
Some of them look
that's what
kind of
I'm saying.
old. I don't know if they're going to, but anyway, hopefully they don't get Social Security.
But that's where it goes into people like the Groypers, where they want to say these extreme things. We need to deport all of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, except for white Africans. It's like, okay, I guess. I mean, then you don't want to actually deport all of them. I'm in favor of deporting all of them. White, black, Hispanic. If you're illegal, get out of my country.
Do you agree that there is like a worldwide, if you want to use the word genocide on white people, or if you prefer, just use the word attack, smearing, and trying to take away the power of the whites
I
in all
think
their white countries?
I think white men genocided themselves, and now they want me to feel bad for it.
Yeah. Terrible.
And I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. You should have stood up for yourself.
It is what it is, huh?
It is what it is. It's reality. And I encourage white men to stand up for themselves. I'm not saying it as in like I think it's a shame.
Yeah. When you are weak, you're asking to be genocided.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why Mamdani, Islam, I guess communist, is now running the most important city in our country.
Yeah. Interesting, man.
So, yeah, it's again we need white men to stand up for themselves, and then every time I tell them that, they argue for why they shouldn't or why they can't.
Man.
So,
very interesting. All right, nice. I'm glad I got your take. I will say this real quick. I distinguish NJF, our future president, from his the Groypers. Because if you look at any followers are not representative of the leader. Followers are always angry, cult-like, insane. When I say always, I mean oftentimes. Okay, I'm using general terms. Whereas the leader is nothing like that. He's his own person, and he's not a victim. He doesn't seem black. He doesn't seem, when I see him, I don't see hopelessness. I see hope, actually. I think that he has a can-do attitude like Trump has. That's why I compare him to Trump, is that he really thinks he's going to get America back.
I think there's a lot of people, including Nick Fuentes, who raise their fan bases to be that. And then when they actually are that, they go, wait, I didn't do that. How many times, and I don't know if you remember this, but there's a lot of people, again, including Nick Fuentes, who will start some of their rants with, you guys aren't angry enough.
Uh-huh.
So it starts off with, I'm going to start this rant to make you angry, to galvanize you to do something or feel a certain way.
Right.
And then when they actually do, and they go back to Nick Fuentes and go, yeah, I hate black people. He goes, wait, I didn't say that. And it's like, yeah, but you galvanize them to be angry. So now it's on you to sort of like pull back a little bit, which I notice he's doing a little bit. He's been pulling back on certain things. But yeah, you can't be surprised if your fan base does become that. Now, I'm not saying that if one of his fans go and do something crazy, that's Nick Fuentes' fault or anything like that. I'm just saying the way that they kind of go along with the dialogue, like how we conversing about this.
Interesting, man.
I think they're angry because they're being made angry by a guy like Nick Fuentes, and he knows that he can do that with somebody who doesn't feel hope. It's easy to do that.
It's kind of true, though. If you speak of anger in terms of versus the shrugging your shoulders and going along to get along, which has been the case all too much. You know, we just talked about Art in Ohio, and you mentioned that he's a little bit more of an angry take, but is everybody asleep? You have Muslims and communists popping up and even running for office. It's outrageous that they're even running for office, much less taking office and winning elections. So I agree not to be angry about it, but there is a right and a wrong way to fight. And I haven't really seen him fight in the wrong way that I've watched. As far as I've seen, I've never. Yeah, he says stuff that I don't always agree with. Most of the stuff I do agree with, though. And then some stuff is like, maybe, I don't know. I don't really have a judgment about it. Anyway,
I feel you on that. I'm not saying I have a full opinion on every single thing Nick Fuentes has said.
Yeah.
I'm just going based on like I guess an overall view that I've seen of him. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong.
Enough about Nick. Let's read Cesar. What up, Crishaun? Sup, Hake? It's nice to see you again after all this time. Last time you were on here was your last day on YouTube, I believe. How's your Rumble journey going so far? If you watched the Tucker Nick interview, what did you think about it? Be well and safe this weekend, everybody. It says Cesar with 3 coffees.
Yeah. Rumble's all right. There's just not a lot of interaction on it. So I ended up kind of going back onto my YouTube backup channel.
The Misfit Nation podcast. Is that what it is?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. At the Misfit Nation podcast on YouTube. And I only did that just for the interaction.
Right.
It's just Rumble. There's not, I don't know. People just don't go on it, I guess, to watch live.
Right. Unless it's like a huge channel. But
maybe.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah.
Or something.
I run into that. So, but you can follow the Misfit Nation on Rumble as well, people. All right. Nice.
Yes.
I'm sure I have more super chats, but I want to get back to the calls here because I'm running out of time. Let's get to Lucas in California. Lucas, thanks for calling, sir. Go ahead. I'm gonna limit you guys to just like 2 minutes apiece.
Yes,
Sorry,
I'll
Lucas.
be quick.
Go ahead.
All right, what's up, Hake?
Hey.
This is for Crishaun. So Donald Trump, Crishaun, has complimented and respects Kim Jong-un, Putin, Xi Jinping, and I want to know, in the 2-hour interview that you admitted you didn't watch, you're strawmanning Stalin. What do you disagree with Nick Fuentes about?
On what? Like Stalin?
No, I mean, it was a 2.5 interview. It was a long interview. You're just talking about that thing.
No, I told you I didn't watch it. I was just talking about
exactly
Stalin, but I wasn't even talking about that interview. I was talking about him, what he said on his podcast about Stalin.
But you know, we all know he's a troll. Like, he's trolling, and it's working, obviously. But he's on Tucker, and everybody hates it. They want to talk to him too. But the other side, are you Jewish, Crishaun? Are you Jewish?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Christian.
Maybe that would, but I don't see what Nick Fuentes is wrong about. And
a lot of Jews don't support Israel or like Judaism either. Yeah. So what would that even prove?
Yeah, well, I'm not too sure about that. I mean,
like, even if let me just grant that I am. Let me just say that I'm Jewish. What does that prove then?
Oh, why you would not like Nick Fuentes?
But again, like I said, there's Reformed Jews who don't like Jewish people either, or Israel. So what would that prove?
Okay, well, look, but you didn't answer my question. I said, why do you not like? Why do you disagree? What do you disagree exactly about him? Because it's more like about the things he's saying, which is obviously trolling. But when it comes down to his core beliefs, I mean, America first, American only.
Okay, then let's differentiate. What is he hold on real quick. What is he trolling about, and what is he being serious about then I could, like, if you're admitting he's trolling, which I said he's trolling, that's why I said he's just being a shock jock. What are you disagreeing with?
No, yes, but not his whole podcast, not his whole thing. Just you're picking and choosing, you're straw manning a couple things he said, but we know his core belief. That's like with Jesse Lee Peterson. We don't take everything that he says. We know he's messing around, he's joking a lot of the time. But he really
let me just say what I don't agree with is living your life based on racial identity, and I think Nick Fuentes has pushed that very heavily. Meanwhile, contradicting himself when we told black people that accepting racial identity or whatever is not a good thing. Now white people are doing the same thing. So I think it's just an overall contradiction to the entire conservative movement and the MAGA movement, which is why he's not part of it anymore.
Yeah. So you're more concerned about people listening to him and they might be thinking a different way.
No, I just disagree with him. There's plenty of people saying the same exact thing, like black activists, except they're just doing it with blackness. He's doing it with whiteness. I disagree with both of them.
Well, yeah, I see. Okay, well then, what do you think about Trump? That he has given so much. He's given respect and compliments to Xi Jinping and Kim Jong Un and Putin. What do you think about that?
Well, they're world leaders that are alive right now, so he's politicking. What's the value of saying like, if Trump came out and said, "I'm a big fan of Stalin," what would be the value in that?
Yeah, no, I get it, but
did Trump like say something about some one of those historical leaders? It sort of rings a bell when you say that. I feel like he said something about Hitler got a lot done, or Stalin.
No, I'm sure he's commented on that, but hold on. In comparison to him talking about world leaders that are alive today, I don't think it's fair to compare those. Like, if he's just commenting on a historical figure as opposed to Xi Jinping, who he needs to politic with because he's a world leader that's alive running a country today. That's two different things.
No, but I just think with that Stalin thing, it's like, if you,
I got to wrap it up, bro. Last word.
Yeah, you can control thousands and thousands of people. I mean, you got to be like, that's amazing. That guy, 100,000, he controlled that. He led them. You got to be like, what did he do? You got to look into it. But Nick Fuentes is look, he's gonna grow up. He's still young. Just, I wouldn't go so hard on the kid. He got on Tucker Carlson. But anyway,
he's almost like 30 years old, isn't he?
27 now.
Yeah, he's not young, bro. Stop infantilizing Nick Fuentes. He's a grown man. He's still
with genius hands, by the way. Have you seen his genius hands?
Here's what Nick Fuentes would benefit from: going out and getting a real job for a good year, and getting out in the workforce and see how people actually interact. Get off the internet and stop doing his show, just for a good year.
I know, but it's a critical thing.
He's never had a real job.
Dude, Crishaun, I like you, bro. If Hake likes you, I like you, man. No, I'm not trying to do a gotcha or anything. I'm just, maybe don't hate on the kid. Okay, he's not a kid, all right, but I mean, look, he's doing something if he's getting on Tucker Carlson. That's all I got.
Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. Nick Fuentes is a monster in the game.
Take care, man.
Yeah. For sure. You guys have a good one.
All right, bye.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
Okay, man. Oh, man. I have super chats and calls, and I'm going to try to fit them all in. I don't know how. Jermaine in Canada on the line here. Jermaine, go.
What's up, Hake?
Hey, thanks for calling. You're live with Crishaun the Don.
That never miss.
Say again?
Nice. I was giving you your intro.
Oh.
I'll make it quick because I want other callers to get on.
Cool.
So, Crishaun, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty much calling to see what you think about Mamdani, but you kind of agree with Artie Art and his comments there, which I don't disagree with him, but you know what? The thing is that we have a society that is mostly single mothers, and it's run by the female household. What would be the solution to fix this problem? Because as you can see in LA, they just had the border rejoin, and they vote for the Liberal Party to extend that their party so they have more seats, so they have more control.
I mean, it's like a multi-pronged kind of thing, but like mainly I would say like you look at the whole EBT thing that's going on and how all these women, like the government shut down and now they're like completely useless even to feeding their own families. I think that proves right there that like women are relying, single mothers are relying on the government because they don't have men around. And it's because they're incentivized to not have the men around, not to have a husband. So if you remove that incentive, I think it actually encourages women to, you know, get married, have kids by their husbands rather than, you know, Ray Down the street.
Yeah. But my thing is, you know, the females are responsible for themselves, of course, but the male, I think, you know, they need to work on themselves too, because if they're right and they deal with the woman in the right way, we kind of wouldn't have this problem, because these women need to go back in the kitchen and just shut up. Because I see so much of them on the internet just talking crap that they don't know nothing about.
Let me interrupt briefly to tell the D-Live crew, I am remiss. It is chest day. Okay, continue.
Nice. Pump that chest. Yeah, man. You know, I just think the males, they need to step up and just deal with the woman in the correct way, and then things will get back to, well, I don't know if it'll get back to normal, but the males work on themselves and go back to God and forget about these female, you know, because the men are controlled by them.
The problem is when they get with women nowadays, they don't actually vet them on what they believe or what they're like. Most men aren't having political discussions with their women.
Hopefully not. How cringe would that be? Actually, I do that. I do that a little bit. Terrible.
No, I think it's important. I think it's important to if you're dating a woman and you want to figure out, you have to know whether or not
since they are voting. But I encourage them. I like it better when they don't really know what's going on.
Yes, I think that's beautiful. But
if they know, but they just don't worry their pretty little heads. They kind of discipline themselves to pull back a little bit, you know? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I think most women naturally are like that with politics. But then when you have to point that out to them, though, so that they understand. Like, I can't have a woman who gets mad at me for saying sexist things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're not going to work. So you have to test your women, and most men don't.
Yeah. You're right. You have to correct them right there and then. But I'll let you guys get on another comment. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Jermaine. Take care, man. Jermaine. Oh, man. I totally lied. I'm not going to get to all the super chats or all the calls. But Rick in Hampton, VA. Rick, thank you for calling. You're live with Crishaun the Don and of the Misfit Nation and Hake.
Man, what's up, Crishaun, brother Crishaun, and brother James? What's going on with you guys?
Chilling.
What's up, Rick?
Man, you know, how's all of a sudden, man, you know, every country, well, I was in the military, and a lot of countries, they don't have, in my opinion, a whole bunch of people coming into their country. Not like us. Now, I'm starting to see these Somalians, these Islamic people running. And it's like, man, if they can run, I can run, shoot.
I know, huh?
You know, I mean, how y'all feel about that?
It's a big joke. America is becoming a joke. What do you say, Crishaun?
I was just gonna say, technically, like Mamdani, because he's an immigrant, he's not allowed to run for president. At some point, I have a feeling that the Democrats are gonna push that too.
Yeah.
They're gonna actually push an immigrant as a presidential candidate just to see if we're gonna do anything about it. And I guarantee you, we don't.
We didn't really force the issue with Obama and his birth certificate. He took forever to release his birth certificate, and even then, like, some
that's
people
fake,
found
right?
it was it looked totally photoshopped after I saw Joe Arpaio expose it.
Yeah, I did a video on this where if you actually load that PDF into a certain program, it's an Adobe program.
Yeah,
you can actually see where they edited and move things around. I did it on my live stream.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then, funny enough, I got suspended and my channel removed a little bit after that.
Dang. So
go ahead. Sorry,
it's lost. So that's why I like Trump, because he looked into that, and Arpaio looked into it. Those are like boomers and older people who aren't ashamed of looking into things, and they want things to be right. So what a mess. Rick, good to hear from you, man. I gotta keep things moving, sir.
Yeah. Well, okay, do y'all thing. Well, hey, brother Crishaun, are you on YouTube?
He is on YouTube.
At the Misfit Nation podcast on YouTube. I'm sure Hake will have it in the
@ the Misfit Nation podcast.
I didn't hear you.
The Misfit Nation podcast. Check my description on my YouTube video for today's show.
Okay, got y'all. Thanks, y'all. All right, y'all. Love you guys. Y'all be blessed. Have a blessed weekend.
Thank you, sir.
I'll tune in to y'all Sunday there, James.
Sounds good,
For
man.
church.
All right. And
by the way, I might be doing a show tonight. So
I was going to ask you. Yeah, so you're streaming perhaps tonight, and that'll be on both the YouTube and the Rumble?
And the Rumble, yes.
Nice.
So just tune in just in case we are going live.
The Misfit Nation, and add the word podcast onto that name for the YouTube channel, guys.
Yeah, I got quite a few of the snake pitters that came over.
Man, oh man, Popcorn is talking about, he bought a coffee, talking about women paying taxes and all that stuff, like as if that should give them the opportunity to vote and stuff like that. And so he's talking about banning large groups of people based on who knows what. I'm not able to get into it. And Eric asks about if I've heard of Chesterton's fence, and he shares a thing. It's about an important principle about the consequences in disposing of traditional values for progressivism. Very interesting. Don't destroy what you don't understand. You know, they just say, oh, why is it this way? This makes no sense. Let's throw out the baby with the bathwater and abolish tradition when there is some wisdom behind the traditions. You don't want to be stuck on them. So anyway, very interesting, Popcorn and Eric there. I cannot get to you guys or read them properly, unfortunately. I have 1 minute for William III of California. William III, you're live with Crishaun the Don of the Misfit Nation and Hake.
All right, we got the Misfit Nation. We got the Misfit Nation along with the Hake Report. And I'm going to get off real quick. I'm on the road. I just want to say hello to Crishaun, and I want to throw this out there. You'd be really surprised, even if the woman has a man, because you guys were talking about vetting women. I'll treat women as good as they can possibly be treated, as long as they don't try to challenge me like a man. And there's a lot of women. There's a high number of women that have a man, but that man is not that child's father. And I'm out on that. How you doing, Crishaun?
Thank you,
I'm good, Will.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, guys.
I think it kind of makes sense.
It makes sense. I mean, it rarely.
I got to run, man. I got to run, William III.
All right, you take care, Crishaun. I'll talk to you later.
For sure. Shout outs to Will. He's become a really big supporter of the Misfit Nation.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for coming on, and take care, everybody. Peace in the Middle East, or at least
out
in your hearts. Adios, America. The Fallen State up next, then Anchor Baby. And then tonight, Crishaun the Don of the Misfit Nation. Bye.
Hake, thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Later.